Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Janine Chavez, and I am your Activities Director at Cibola High School. It is the request of Cibola High School administration that we honor and recognize each graduate. Most of you are here today to celebrate the accomplishments of one graduate special to you. Kindly be reminded to refrain from excessive cheering and the use of noisemakers so that each graduate's name may be heard and honored by family and friends. Thank you for attending today's commencement and for sharing in Cibola High School's commemoration of the academic achievement of the graduating class of Cibola class of 2019. At this moment, please stand for our Cibola High School class of 2019. Thank you, Mr. Mathern and the awesome Cibola High School band. Good evening. The administration, staff, and students of Cibola High School would like to welcome you to our 2019 commencement exercises. Would you please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing until the colors have been retired? Gentlemen, hats off, please. Tonight's color guard is being presented by Cibola High School's Marine Corps Junior ROTC. The color guard and honor guard are under the direction of Gunnery Sergeant Jim Flores. The color guard is being commanded by Darian Johnson. The Marine Corps flag is being carried by Antonio Moreno. Mariah Kendall and Dylan Sanchez are this evening's rifle bearers. The national anthem will be sung by Cibola's concert choir.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose much stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Gentlemen, hats on, please. Graduates and audience, please be seated. And now, Cibola Concert Choir, under the direction of Mr. Ryan Hatch, will perform a Gaelic blessing. It is my pleasure to introduce our honored guest this afternoon. From the Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education, Board President David Percy and Peggy Mueller-Aragon. The Chief Operations Officer for Albuquerque Public Schools, Scott Elder. Madeline Sedna Madmol, Associate Superintendent of Equity, Instruction, Innovation, and Support. Cibola High School's Administration, Melissa Cedillo, Angela Reitman, Raul Sandoval, Robert Faber. The Class of 2019's Counselor, Eliseo Montoya. Senior Class Secretary, Alexis Amodio Cardwell. Senior Class Vice President, Lourdes Montoya. Senior Class President, Omar Jackman. Student Body Historian, Cameron Guillen. Student Body Service Coordinator, Joe Doucette. Student Body Secretary, Gabrielle Aguilar. Student Body Vice President, Alexa Cordray. Student Body President, Alexandra Gator Colon. Salutatorian, Catherine Thomas. And Valedictorian for the Class of 2019, Brandon Garcia. And now for our first speech, I'd like to recognize our salutatorian, Catherine Thomas.
I would like to start by thanking all our teachers whose dedication, determination, and sacrifice have made it possible to get to this point. I would also like to thank all the parents, family members, and friends who have supported us in this endeavor. I would especially like to thank my parents, whose support of my various activities made it possible for me to be here and become who I am today. Many people say they want to be successful, and they define success as accumulating large amounts of money or acquiring fame. However, success is not about the money, the things you own, or fancy titles. Rather, it is in becoming the person you can become. As George Sheehan, a runner, said, success means having the courage, the determination, and the will to become the person you believe you were meant to be. This requires work and diligence, perseverance, and dedication. It requires self-motivation, and as my dad often reminds me, it is sacrificing what you want now for what you really want in the future. Someone once said, the difference between who you are and who you want to be is what you do. It is the very small acts every day that determine our destiny and character. It is also how we face adversity that affects who we become. I love Douglas Malloch's poem called Good Timber. The tree that never had to fight for sun and sky and air and light, but set out in the open plain and always got its share of rain, never became a forest king, but lived and died a scrubby thing. The man who never had to toil to gain and farm his patch of soil, who never had to win his share of sun and sky and light and air, never became a manly man, but lived and died as he began. Good timber does not grow with ease, the stronger winds, the stronger trees, the further sky, the greater length, the more the storm, the more the strength. By sun and cold, by rain and snow, in trees and men good timbers grow. Where thickest lies the forest growth, we find the patriarchs of both, and they hold counsel with the stars, whose broken branches show the scars of many winds and much of strife. This is the common law of life. Challenges serve as a catalyst for improvement. They invite us to grow stronger and become better. Failure is inevitable as we try to improve and reach goals that we have set, but as Winston Churchill said, success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. It is the determination and will to be better that brings about improvement. However, success is not solely in what we achieve, but also in how we treat others. Barbara Bush said, never lose sight of the fact that the most important yardstick of your success will be how you treat other people, your family, friends, and coworkers, even strangers you meet along the way. Our relationships with others are important and critical. Look back in your life thus far. Who has been influential in your life? Typically, they're not those that have a lot of money or fame. Rather, they are the people who took the time to help you, not making life easy for you, but providing support. They were there when you felt down or fell down. We need to serve and show kindness to all. Another important part of this is to allow others their opinions and views, not to be demeaning towards them. We can still be kind even when our opinions differ. As you continue through life and strive to be the best you can be, remember that your actions determine your destiny. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? How will you get there? Notice and remember the people along the way, and do not be too busy to smell the flowers. We have many opportunities before us. Congratulations, class of 2019, on your hard work.
It is my pleasure to introduce the valedictorian of the class of 2019, Brandon Garcia.
I struggled for a long time writing this speech because I just didn't know what to say. I would think to myself, what can I possibly say that hasn't already been said before? I grappled with that for a while before I looked back to my favorite quote for some inspiration. It's a quote from Michelle Obama, which reads, "There are still many causes worth sacrificing for, so much history yet to be made." So yes, a lot has been said before and a lot has been done before, but this is the story of our lives, and it's up to us to tell it how we want it to be told. They told me nothing good comes out of Taylor Middle School. I said, watch me. They told me I didn't have what it takes to be here today, and that I dreamt too big. I said, watch me. I'm sharing this with you for two reasons. Firstly, I want you to know that there will be people who will doubt you, who won't believe in you, who will try and discredit you. But I want to ask you to persevere through all of that because you deserve what's waiting for you. And secondly, because I want you to know that you can and will grow wherever you're planted. After much reflection, I've come to realize that my most memorable and favorite experience in high school was in Mr. Seiferd's AP biology class when we planted corn. If you had bio with me, you know I really loved that corn. We planted that corn in New Mexico's ever-changing February weather. And each of the seeds that took root grew marvelously into beautiful seedlings. Yes, those are not ideal conditions for growing corn, but the seeds that took root were determined to grow wherever and whenever they were planted. We, like the corn, are determined to grow, and we can and will grow to the best of our abilities. With a little help here and there, anything is possible. And I want to thank each and every one of the amazing and subjectively short people that helped me get here today. From my parents and grandmother to family, to each of you here today, thank you. This day marks the first day of our lives and the end of our lives as we knew them, so we ought to cherish it and take a moment to remember all that it took for us to get here. There were a lot of early mornings and even more late nights, and we made a lot of memories together. Fires, wild bears, seemingly endless construction, that mysterious honk in the PA system until junior year. You name it, we've seen it at Cibola. On that fateful August day when we waltzed into E Hall as freshmen, I don't think any of us realized what it would take to get here. But here we are. This day, that our mothers think came too soon, was 1,374 very long days in the making. And somehow it was still the quickest 4 years I've ever known and the best I've known so far. So we haven't made it to the history books, and they're not writing AP United States history DBQs about us yet. But this is our history in the making. Just like I did with this speech, we'll struggle a bit at first, but it will come to us. If there's one singular thing I'll take away from high school, it's that perseverance pays off. Also, don't procrastinate, but that's a story for another time. High school is full of little trials and tribulations to test your strength and your patience, and life will do the same thing. But we can and will get through it because our future is a cause worth sacrificing for, and our history is yet to be made. We are a generation unlike any other. We are built for changing times, and we will change them for the better. In short, save the earth, the bees, and the trees, because we can be here for a good time and a long time. The story of your life is the most important story you'll ever get to tell. Make it a good one. Live life, have fun, write a speech about corn. Do what makes you happy. Thanks, Cibola.
And now, a special video presentation from your class president, Omar Jackmeh.
Long, long time ago, I can still remember how that homework used to make me cry. And I knew if I had my chance that I could make those grades advance, and maybe I could party for a while. But finals week made me shiver with every paper I delivered. Bad news on the doorstep. I couldn't take one more test. I can't remember if I cried when I read that Josh had died, but something touched me deep inside the day that Josh died. So bye bye, Cibola High. I tried to go to class, but the school was on fire. Cockroaches crawled all over my feet. I'm singing, this'll be the day that I fly. This'll be the day that I fly. Did you write your essay last night? And did you indent and source your sites? 'Cause Dr. Mac told you to. Now do you believe in Cougar's soul? Can Norwalk save your immortal soul? Most of all, Mr. Putz taught me how to bowl. Well, I know you missed first period, 'cause I saw you late on Ellison. You got snatched by ISS, but I know you couldn't care less. I was a lonely teenage aspiring cook with a D in math and a late library book, but I still knew that I was a good cook the day that Josh died. I started singing, bye bye, Cibola High. I tried to go to class, but the school was on fire. Cockroaches crawled all over my feet. Singing, this will be the day that I fly. This will be the day that I fly. Now for 4 years we've had no windows, and now it's time for this chapter's close, and that's just how it has to be. Oh, and we walk the line, it's c'est la vie. Leaving Cibola, and now we're free, oh, but it's all a little bittersweet. Oh, and while Perlot was looking down, I thought, why is our school so brown? The bathrooms were vandalized, so uncivilized. And while Miss Smart read a book on sharks, we caused trouble in the park. With no windows, we were in the dark the day that Josh died. We were singing, bye bye, Cibola High. I tried to go to class, but the school was on fire. Cockroaches crawled all over my feet, singing, this will be the day that I fly. This will be the day that I fly. I met a girl who was on cheer, and I asked her for her number here, but she just laughed and turned away. I went down to the library, where I wrote my paper in a hurry, but Miss Fodder said the printer didn't work. And in the class the children screamed, The lovers cried and the poets dreamed, but not a word was spoken because the AC was broken. And the three men I admire most were August Wahi and Mr. Putz. Oh, how he loves his donuts the day that Jase died.
Hi, my name is Omar. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to say goodbye and farewell to Cibola High School. It's time to start new beginnings. It's time to pursue our passions and our dreams. The best thing about high school are the people we get to meet and spend time with. The experiences that we had with our friends and the sports and activities we participated in are the things that we won't forget. Some of us are going to go to college, some of us are going to go to military, and some of us are going to make their own path. But it's time to find out who we are and what we are going to do in life.
They were singing, bye bye Cibola High. I tried to go to class, but the school was on fire. Cockroaches crawled all over my feet. I'm singing, this'll be the day that I fly.
Thank you guys, I love you.
Principal Mrs. Meyer apologizes that she can't be here due to illness, but she wants me to tell you how much respect and admiration she has for the graduating class of 2019 and their families. On her behalf, I'll be reading the words she wants to share with you. Dear Cibola graduates and community, today I would like to examine the power of opportunity through adversity, the paradox that every down is really an up. This dynamic seems to defy logic, to be counterintuitive. I used to think that I was being fed a line when I was told that I couldn't fully appreciate the good without having experienced the bad. But life has shown me that this is a real phenomenon. Every failure can be a success. Each one of you inevitably has fallen, has faced discouragement, and each of you has chosen to reach higher as a result instead of sinking below due to adversity. The building blocks of your future rely upon your ability to stand up each time you stumble, even to stride toward conflict, uncertainty, and the unknown, in some cases, so that you can double your understanding and strength. A toddler knows intuitively that he or she wants to walk, and to do so means falling over and over. Why bother to get up after all that failure? Eventually, we learn that through sheer perseverance, we can take strides. It's this cycle of failure and success, an infinite pattern, the disappointment, disillusionment, and then the clarity and success that creates a wisdom and balance. Even when life seems at its cruelest, when you think you can't take another struggle, you will find that you can move beyond or right through whatever obstacle and emerge on the other side, better for having endured what seemed impossible. How can you valiantly root for the underdog without having felt like one first? Now imagine that employers wanted to see on your resume a list of obstacles that you have overcome, those heartbreaks, pushing toward a goal that never became a reality despite your best efforts, losing someone you love, taking a more challenging course than expected, pushing yourself beyond capacity or endurance. And those obstacles would be listed right alongside your accomplishments. This compare and contrast would truly tell the story of who you are. For every down, there's a double up. You are untethered by the weights of the world if you choose this perspective. You have proven your resilience, your grit, your determination to push forward in spite of difficulty. Reaching the milestone of graduation demonstrates this fact. Research shows that it's not the knowledge you have obtained thus far, but instead it's more important in this quick-paced information age to have the ability to grasp and internalize new knowledge. So choose the more challenging path. Resist the temptation of being afraid to take risks for fear of looking foolish. You've learned the solidity of optimism, the surety of positivity, taken opportunities to see another side of things, the notion of embracing conflicts to realize successes. Now, in the words of Dr. Seuss, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Congratulations, class of 2019. Albuquerque Public School Board members Peggy Mueller-Aragon and David Percy, the graduates before you have met the graduation requirements set forth by the Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education along with the New Mexico Public Education Department. To you, I present the class of 2019.
So on behalf of the Albuquerque Public Schools Board of Education, we accept the 2019 graduating class of Cibola High School. And if I could say anything to you graduates, I would say be strong, be courageous, be brave, and remember that you have a lot of tomorrows, and every tomorrow you get a chance to make it better than today. So go out and be the cougars that you are. Take advantage of every opportunity you're presented. And like Brandon said, grow where you're planted. Make a beautiful life.
Now, I would like to recognize Craig Garcia, Spanish teacher, Jeff Jones, social studies teacher, and Jose Arias, Spanish teacher, to announce the names of our graduates.
Ben Abadi, Jacqueline Alvarado, Carlos Anaya, Savannah Anderson, Brianna Aragon, Marcos Achuleta, Nathan Arellano, Santiago Arias, Audrey Armijo, Sammy Arn, Haley Arvizo, Floyd Atencio, Brianna Avila, Sabrina Ayazi, Jerome Baca, Chloe Baker, Skylar Baker Gomez, Jonathan Bailey, Brandon Banca, Austin Basford, Aaron Beckert, Alana Begay, Mariposa Virginia Benavides, Lamar Bennett, Matthew Berlint, Aaron Bice, Tyshawn Bitsu, Stephen Bitzer, Will Bonilla, Shakina Bounda, Brandon Brantley, Malik Brooks, Micah Brown, Erica Buckner, Madison Teresita Burke, Emiliano Calderon, Jasmine Carranza, Trinity Vinay Casaus, Ashley Sedebaca, Elizabeth Erin Sederberg, Alvaro Chacon, Jaden Chambers,
Corey Charlie, Ava Charlin, Angelo Chavez, Daniel Chavez, Jaron Chavez, Jaden Chavez, Natasha Chavez, Philip Chavez, Santos Chavez, Joseph Chavez, Dylan Childs, Alexia Cisneros, Mackenzie Clark, Cameron Clements, Zachary Collado, Isabella Colon, Aaliyah Conway, Joey Kahn, Gia Williams, Brandon Cook, Wesley Cook, Adrian Copeland, Ty Daniels, Juliana Davidson, Angelique Davis, Elijah Joanne Davis, Jade Xiaotong Dawson, Daniel DiBenedettis, Angelica Delira, Preston Denard, Lauren Drellick, Deja Dubuque, Christopher Reno Duggan, Jenna Dunkeson, Marissa Duran, Davon Easton, Angelo Elmquist, Madison Duncan, Glory Enemchukwu, Carlo Evangelisti, Courtney Fairchild, Cleopatra Fasil, Alyssa Fernandez, Michael Figs, Alyssa Flores,
Isaiah Flores, Mariana Flores, Tyler Fangio, Levi Fleury, Juliana Fonseca, Evan Franklin, Catherine Gabaldon, Dominic Galindro, Damian Gallegos, Isaiah Gallegos, Reyes Gallegos, Kishan Fragua, Aaron Gallegos. Ernesto Gamboa, Olga Garay, Abigail Garcia, Anthony Garcia, Gabriel Garcia, Joseph Garcia, Manny Garcia, Savannah Garcia, Vincent Garcia, Jacob Garza, Alicia Gibi, Joseph Sanchez, Kelly Godsey, Carlos Gonzalez, Johaira Gonzalez, Jordan Gonzalez, Luis Gonzalez, Sofia Gonzalez, Kylie Graham, Nicole Grief, Daniel Gutierrez, Michaela Carpenter, Gregory Griego, Johnny Guarian, Daniel Guerrero, Ekta Gurung, Naya Guzman, Sophia Harrison, Keelan Hart, Todd Havens, Jessica Heacock, Damian Herbert,
Devin Herman, Brenda Gabriela Hernandez, Brianna Hernandez, Sage Heyman, Megan Hill, Anna Victoria Hines, Ethan Hicks, Chastity Amber Hood, Sydney Hopkins, Taisha Hopper, Richard Horn, Raymond Hunter, Eloisa Ingram, Juan Jacobo, Cheyenne Jalaluddin, Cameron James, Zane James, Akira Jaramillo, Heaven Mojica, Matthew Gutierrez, Vincenzo Jaramillo, Sabas Jasso, Mackenzie Jenkins, Aiden Jimenez, Brianna Jimenez, Kiana Joe, Raylyn Joe, Ammon Jones, Cyrus Jones, Peter Jones, Torin Jones, Adrian Khan, Kota Kahiga, Kelly Lynn Cottrell, Allie Klein, Tyler Renee Knight, Julius Kahn, Jaden Kubiak, Joshua Kuhn, Logan Scott Larson, Haley Lawson, Tyler Leeper, Cannon Lehman, Joshua Lopez, Bobby Lopez,
Natalia Lozoya, Elizabeth Lucero, Devonte Lujan, Jasmine Luna, Brooklyn Maestas, Reese Mays, Sophia Victoria Magana, Nicholas Maldonado. Cindy Manuel. Noelani Menigotes. Jessica Manzanares. Liliana Manzanares. Nathaniel Manzanares. David Marler. Reese Marler. Aubriana Marquez. Robert Marquez Romero. Abigail Marquise. Jeremy Martin. Marcus Martinez. Raul Israel Martinez. Shelby C.S. Martinez. Raven McCarty. Xavier McCarty. Mason McClellan. Autumn McDaniels. Jacqueline McDowell. Sebastian Mendez. Diego Mendoza. Tony Mendoza Jr. Jacob Mercure. Tyler Merritt. Cassandra Meyer. Serafina Midoff. Daniel Meisner. Tlali Milan. Stephen Miller. Cameron Mitchell. Angelise Molina. Antonio Molina. Braden Maloney. Joshua Montano. Julian Montes.
Stephanie Montoya. Brandon Moore. Mackenzie Moore. Amaya Moreno. Carly Morrison Shaw. Sydney Muniz. Angela Munoz. Maya Nastav. Kale Natsue. David Newcomb. Keen Nguyen. Shannon Noble. David Newcomb. Keen Nguyen. Allison Navarro. Gage Nolan. Gabriel Olivares. Jace Olivares Rhodes. Josue Ortega. Brianna Otero. Dominique Otero. Darren Jr. Owen. Corey Owens. Jacob Padilla. Juan Padilla. Shalimar Padilla. Caleb Palmer. Joseph Palomeri. Cody Palmerton. David Perez. Taylor Perez. Veronica Perez. W. Page Pike. Dimagia Kubel. Tanya Kuros. Mariana Kuros Fonseca. Cameron Ramirez. Michaela Ramirez. Nicole Ramos. Ricardo Ramos. Diana Ray. Dylan Reedy. Wyatt Reeves. Aiden Reed. Kylie Reel. Keith Reinhardt. Cameron Ridenauer. Christopher Rivera.
Donovan Rivera. Robert Roberts. Diego Robertson. Maurice Robinson. Christelle Rodis. Rachel Romero. Mara Rosado. Abel Rose. Dante Rossetti. Christopher Rougemont. Donovan Ruiz. Jordan Ruiz. Noah Rutland. Amanda Rydeski. Dylan Sala. Marco Salas. Aaliyah Salazar. Ricky Salazar. Andres Salinas. Anthony Sanchez. Dominic Sanchez. Hope Sanchez. Joseph Sanchez. Matthew David Sanchez. Matthew Lucas Sanchez. Annika Sanchez. Samantha Sanchez. Manpreet Sandhu. Christopher Sandoval. Jasmine Ileana Sandoval. Romy Sandoval. Dana Scott. Riley Scott. Jason Riggs. Nevaeh Cedillo. Kailani Sangstock. Haley Savani. James Sierra. Liana Silva. Brian Simmons Jr. Trinity Smith. Isabel Sosa. Abigail Stafford. Marcus Steele. Kaylee Stewart. Darby Stirrup. Alexander Sullivan.
Nicholas Tofoya. Moises Tapia. Uris Tapia Flores. Joshua Tavasi. Wesley Taylor. Michael Tenorio. Sasha Thorpe. Annalise Trammell. Alfredo Trio. Derek Andres Trujillo. Destiny Trujillo. Caesar Uriarte. Ian Jacob Urioste. Gabriel Valle. Victor Valles. Curtis Jerome Van II. Analicia Vaquera. Arciana Vicente. Seth Vigil. Nicole Villalobos. Destiny Wikenewa Birdshead. Emmanuel Waits. Angelica Waldy. Cassandra Waldy. Deandra Ward. Abby Wyrick. Malin Welch. Jeffrey Williams. Trent Williams. Gage Willis. Victoria Wilson. Brianna Winters. Elijah Worthington. Alejandra Zapata Guegochea. Jordan Kramer. And now, your honored graduates. Catherine Thomas. Brandon Alexander Garcia. Alexis Amodio Cardwell. Lourdes Amor Montoya. Omar Drachmi. Joseph Doucette. Cameron Guillen. Gabrielle Aguilar. Alexa Cordray. And Alexandra Gator Cologne.
Ladies and gentlemen, our student body president, Alexandra Gator Cologne.
Hello, class of 2019. I am truly honored to be here and to have the privilege of speaking before you before I begin my adventures at Boise State. Hopefully the mic will work a little bit better though than it ever did at any of our assemblies. But before I begin my speech, there are a few people I would like to thank because I wouldn't be there without them. I'd like to start with Ms. Chavez. You're an amazing activities director and made my time as an officer amazing. Mr. Jones and my fellow troopers, S-Troop was truly the highlight of my high school career. And of course, all my Cibola teachers who have taught me so much. As Mr. Norwalk would say, keep living that boss's life. And lastly, my fellow officers, I love you guys. As my sisters had agreed to pay me $5 each if I mentioned them today. So, to Sophia, you are such a role model to me, and I'm so lucky to look up to you. You'll always be one of my best friends. And to my twin sister, Belle, I am so happy I'm able to graduate with you. It's crazy to think we're separating for the first time ever this fall. Whether it be bringing me binders I forget every day, doing cartwheels at my election speech, or writing my name on all my papers in preschool because I didn't know how to spell it, you've always been there for me. You're gonna kill it next year. I love you both, and I take cash and Venmo. And now to my parents. Dad, you always remind me not to take life too seriously and always make me laugh. Mom, I hope to one day be half the woman that you are. You're the most creative, selfless, and amazing person I know. I love you both. And now, to my fellow classmates, I thank you so much for being a great group of friends through the years and making my time here at Cibola more beautiful and amazing than I could have ever imagined. Looking back on high school, we've had so many amazing memories, like roaming F Hall and hailing tar for a whole year. When a bear walked onto campus, well, at least near campus. Most schools have 4 winter balls, but we've been lucky to have an amazing 3. But in all seriousness, we've done so much together, and I hope you will treasure the stories that we were able to make. As we look back at the past and how amazing it was, it's hard not to feel scared for the future. There's so much uncertainty, but at the same time, it is this uncertainty that makes life so amazing and special. Even if you have no idea where you're going to be in a few months, a few years, or even tomorrow, I know we're all capable of accomplishing all our dreams. When I look at you, my fellow classmates, I truly believe we can set our minds to anything and everything we want to, and I hope that you guys never forget that. Uncertainty, whether good or bad, will always be with us, no matter how big or small. No matter how hard we try to get rid of it, it will always be with us. So for now, I can only offer the following random piece of advice in no particular order that have guided me. Don't let others push you around. You will always deserve better. The more you put into something or someone, the more you'll always get out. It's just as okay to be behind as it is ahead, and there's nothing to be ashamed about that. Sometimes time is the only thing that can fix our problems, but that's okay. Of course, there are a lot more things I could say, but the reality is the only way we'll be able to learn is to go live our lives. I never thought I'd miss Cibola and all of the beautiful people I've met as much as I do now. It seems like just yesterday when we all stepped into school for the first time, and then quickly were evacuated because a vending machine caught on fire. But we stand here today, ready to take on whatever the future has to offer us. I know many of you have dinner reservations to catch, so I'd like to end with a quote by my queen, RuPaul. Fulfillment isn't found over the rainbow. It's found in the here and now. So let's take some chances, work hard, set goals, and make sure to have fun at least a little bit every day. You deserve it. And now, please join me in moving our tassels from the right to the left to symbolize our transformations from students to newfound graduates. I truly do love you guys so much. Thank you everything, class of 2019. Good luck, let's get the spread, but most importantly, congratulations. See you later, Gator.
Thank you for attending our ceremony. Please allow all seniors to leave the floor and leave the Coliseum. You will be able to meet and greet our graduates at the Creative Arts parking lot just south of the Creative Arts building on the west side of this Coliseum. To the class of 2019, be good people, do great things, make us proud. We love you 3,000. Graduates, please stand. In a second. And now, ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause for the class of 2019.